All right. So now let's go back up and talk a little bit about the nature of that pattern. In the note we put next to that parenthetically, I put the qadr and qadar of my anatomy and physiology. For example, my opposable thumbs, my ability to speak, my ability to read and to write. All right? These are all inside the pattern. These are all inside the conception. These are all inside the original design, intention, conception of God for my reality. Okay? Let's go back up to the Imam's statement when he said about what he's saying about Darwin, right? He's saying, but when God says he made us in his image and likeness, I think God is saying to Christians, and it is what we believe in Islam too, that man, though he's physical, he needs the physical to exist for communication, for his existence in this world. He is a spiritual entity, and man is a spiritual entity. Actually, I want the quote before that. The Imam said, I agree with Darwin in part. This physical image and likeness belongs to the animal kingdom. Speaking of our body. It's talking about the animal kingdom that it's talking about. Although there is something special, this is the point that I want. There is something special about our physical symmetry and our design, something special about it, that makes us the top of the animal kingdom. That is the point there. That is inside of the intention of the Creator. In that plan that was formed of that intention. In the design that is his intention being made manifest in his plan for man. Inside of it, that's when you speak about qadr, right? Khalaqa fasawwa wa qaddara fahada. Khalaq, we've just talked about the form of the human being. The form, the physical anatomy, all that, the form. Okay? Khalaqa fasawwa. Sawa is placed within the total system of reality. Right? And let's just narrow it down to the specifics of our comments right most immediately. Now, the animal kingdom. Where is his place, Sawa, in the animal kingdom? His place in the animal kingdom is on the top of the animal kingdom. Sawa, that's his place. On the top of the animal kingdom. But then also, Sawa also means equality. It carries the meaning equality. And there are verses, inshallah, maybe it'll come up, that inshallah means God willing. It will come up later, but we'll just make the statement that God says that there's not a creature that crawls or flies on his wing, but they form community like you. So the implication of that is that we are a part of the animal kingdom. We share with the animal kingdom this social nature, right? There are some insects and lower quote unquote forms of life that are known as social animals and social insects and the like. Well, we are also a social animal, a social creature. We live in society. We're gregarious by nature. We're grouping. We're the grouping type. And so that's the sawa as well. So we fit into that class, that category of animals that socialize and that evolve through socialization and that need socialization and that form communities. And I'm trying not to say too much, but still, on the sixth day in Genesis, that's when all the creeping things, the cattle, etc., all those things were made on the sixth day. And that's the same day that man was made on in the Genesis. And the surah that this idea of the equality, or rather the forming of communities, you find that also in Surah 6, Surah Al-An'am. That's Arabic, right? Al-An'am. Some translate it as the cattle, and it also translates as animals, as the animals. And you can hear it in the Arabic word, an'am, an'am. You don't have to go far to get from an'am to anam, anam, and then the al is just a suffix. It's just a suffix, right? If I'm saying virtual, the root is virtue, and the al is just a suffix of or related to. It relates to virtue, right? And all the other spherical. If something is spherical, then that means it's like things in the shape of a sphere. So the al is also again there. Okay, so we say an'am and you say animal, animal, animal. It's not hard to get there. Point is that's that equality of us. And then man being made on the sixth day, the same day that those animals were made, it's also a reference back to the fact that in our physiology, in our anatomy, we are animals, but we're at the top of the animal kingdom because of the physical symmetry, our design, and something special about it. This qadr, there's a potential in our design, there's a potential in our symmetry, and there's a potential in our makeup that evolves from up, out, and through us that is not true for any other life form. That's also a part of the statement, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We created this social creature in the most excellent of molds. Of all the social creatures that have molds and forms, this one has the most excellent mold. And so one of the things when you speak about anatomy, then you think about the opposable thumbs, right? The opposable thumbs, the fact that we have these opposable thumbs are the things that really make civilization and tool making and all these other things that we have possible. That's without talking about, without even addressing the capacities that evolve from our mind, that our mental makeup, that again comes up later. Right now, we're just talking about the physical structure itself, the way that we walk, the upright structure, and all these things. And then when you go inside, just like right now, we're speech. Speech is unique to us as human beings. Those birds, those minor birds, and those other canaries and the like, they're not speaking. They're just making sounds that emulate speech. But in terms of what speech really is as a communication mechanism, as a vehicle for ideas and all the rest of that, animals don't do that. Not the lower forms of animal. They don't do that. And then go beyond that, go to reading, go to writing, etc. And of course, all these different scientists and labs, etc., trying to prove that that other animals can do the same thing. I think at least on this level, it's like that's just the devil's work trying to prove that man ain't nothing. I put it ebonically. He's nothing. The same. The dolphins got more than this, and bonobo chimps, they could even do that, and that's really somebody that's hating on human beings. And they're spending their life and time trying to prove that there's nothing special or unique about the human being. Doesn't that sound like Satan? You expect me to bow to the creature you made. No, there are other things that are better and greater. So mashallah, that's what's going on. That's a part of the nature of life as it is. So this pattern that the Imam speaks of here, that when it comes to me, I become a living being. It means that when I am, what we have to call it this internal growth, the growth of this abstract, the growth of this spiritual being, when it finally balloons. I'm trying to give an illustration that sort of helps. When it finally balloons and arises to the point where I can grasp it mentally and understand it mentally, and it becomes the source of affect, the source of effect, the source of my behavior, now I'm a living being, right? So, but the living being is the actualization, the realization, the manifestation of the pattern that the Creator conceived of and put in matter and evolved along with our anatomy, inside of our anatomy, physiology, biology, to come to the point where, oh, I get it. Well, now you're a living being. But all the time before that, you were not. All right? This whole scheme, this whole pattern is can be taken from the 23rd chapter, 12 to the 14th verse. But let's mention one more thing. And this is a big subject that we're going to get to sometime later, God willing. Because now you can also understand the pattern. Now we invite you to understand the pattern. That's the big word, capital Pattern. The pattern as the written app that you can find or see the word of revelation as. And it is also the spirit from Allah. Let's make clear what we mean. Let's go back. You remember I said they cut off God from the beginning. They cut off, a destiny in the future, and everything is just, life is right here, right now. You live once, you die, and that's that. Okay, but let's go back to the Creator conceptualizing our reality as a human creature. He placed that in matter, right? So he has an intention for that. And we talked about transduction, right? So he put that intention in matter, and he means for that matter to become what he intends for it to be. What helps that process to, what process is it that causes that intention to be realized? Is that intention from the Creator, he put that intention, which means it's instruction. It's instruction. Everything has a role to play in realizing the manifestation of this intention from the Creator. So God creates the universe first as the condition, as the womb, as the machinery to transduce his will and intention as the womb for that intention to finally give rise to an upright creature that will be the top of the animal kingdom and have something even beyond that fundamental superiority that comes with his anatomy. Not the brute beast strength of the gorilla or the elephant or anything like that. It's the brain power that will put him in a position to manage the gorilla, to manage the elephant and all the other creatures of power. So it's not that physiology, that anatomy that is his superiority. It's the structure and the potential inside of it, which we've already said. All right, but how does everything accomplish? Why do cells that produce proteins and the blueprints for DNA and all the rest of these things, how do they know what to do? Where does the instruction come from? Well, the instruction is the will of God. The will of God. It is the will of God that the tree grows the way that it grows, that cells reproduce the way that they reproduce, that everything functions the way that it functions. It's functioning according to an instruction given to it by the Creator. So our evolution in matter is the realization of the order that's given to all matter to accomplish what Allah has for it to accomplish. So Allah designed the earth, He designed the universe, He designed all these elements for the purpose of fulfilling the aim that He has for the production of you and I as human beings.